The room was filled with silk and silence, the kind of silence that carries judgment in its breath. Chandeliers trembled slightly above, not from wind, but from the quiet tension hanging between expectations and truth. The guests had gathered to witness a decision that was never meant to be gentle. It was meant to be practical, efficient, predictable. Two daughters stood side by side, their mother's hands trembling behind them, their father's voice already rehearsed in his mind. One daughter stood like a painted portrait, symmetry in her smile, grace trained into her posture, beauty that drew eyes without effort. The other stood half a step back, her gown simpler, her gaze lowered not in shame but in habit. Years of being unseen had taught her how to make herself smaller without disappearing completely. When the father finally spoke, his voice carried the confidence of someone who believed the world owed him obedience. He gestured casually toward the daughter bathed in admiration and said, almost kindly, "Take the pretty one." The words landed softly, yet they cracked something open in the room. No one protested. No one gasped. It was expected. Beauty had always been the currency here. The value of a woman measured in how easily she could be admired, displayed, and chosen. The other daughter was already invisible in the eyes of most present, including the man who raised her. But kindness has a strange way of surfacing in places where power expects submission. The nobleman standing before them did not move immediately. His gaze did not rush to the shining smile offered to him like a gift already wrapped. Instead, it drifted, slowly, thoughtfully, to the one standing just behind, the one who had learned to fold her hands so tightly together that her fingers left small crescent moons in her palms. She lifted her eyes only when she felt the weight of that gaze. Not hopeful, not pleading, just curious, almost confused. No one ever looked at her that way, like she was something to be discovered rather than overlooked. In that moment, the room shifted. The father cleared his throat, certain there had been a misunderstanding. "The other one," he said again with a forced laugh. "The beautiful one." Still, there was no movement toward the expected choice. What unfolded next was not defiance born of pride, but something quieter, steadier. A decision rooted not in rebellion but in recognition. A recognition that beauty without kindness fades quickly, and kindness without recognition still glows in the dark. The chosen one, though no one had ever chosen her before, felt her breath hitch. Her life had taught her to expect disappointment, not miracles. She had been the daughter people forgot to compliment, the one whose laughter filled rooms only after others had left. She had learned to find warmth in small mercies, in helping hands, in listening when no one else would. She did not know that these quiet virtues had been seen. She did not know that kindness, practiced in silence, carries a weight that no ornament ever could. As the moment stretched, whispers stirred among the guests, some curious, some amused, others offended. This was not how stories were supposed to go. This was not the order of things. The world liked its beauty obvious and its choices predictable. Her sister stood frozen, confusion flickering across her polished expression. She had never imagined not being chosen, never considered that admiration could be bypassed, and yet here it was, unavoidable and unsettling. The father's jaw tightened, pride began to bruise. This was not the agreement. This was not the plan that had been whispered behind closed doors and sealed with ambition. Yet no one interrupted, because sometimes even authority senses when a moment carries a truth too heavy to interrupt. The quiet daughter felt the room breathing around her, felt years of being overlooked pressing against her chest. She wanted to disappear. She wanted to run. But something unfamiliar steadied her feet. Not confidence, but dignity. A dignity born from years of endurance, of choosing gentleness when bitterness would have been easier. She remembered all the moments she had offered kindness without applause, the nights she stayed awake comforting others while her own tears dried silently, the times she smiled so others could rest even when her own heart ached. She had never expected reward, She had simply been herself. And now, inexplicably, that self was being seen. The air shifted again as a quiet voice spoke, not loud, not commanding, but certain. A voice that did not need to dominate to be heard. The words were few, yet they carried weight, as though shaped by long thought rather than impulse. A collective breath was held. The father's face hardened, then softened, then tightened again. He searched for control, for leverage, for something to reclaim authority. But control slips easily when kindness refuses to bow. The chosen daughter felt tears sting her eyes, not of sadness, but of disbelief. She had spent her life believing she was second to everyone else, second choice, second thought, second place. And now, without trying, without pretending, she had been seen as first. She did not smile widely. She did not step forward boldly. She simply lifted her chin a little, the way someone does when they finally believe they have the right to stand where they are. Around them, the room whispered. Some hearts softened, others hardened, but something irreversible had begun.